wanted to, when I was reading your book and being with you, it occurs to me that in many ways your personality is more like a rock and roll star with kind of a thirst for adventure and fun and having a good time and building a family around you as if it was a band, more than an entrepreneur or a CEO. Were those early days with those rock stars influence your personality, or were you already having that type of approach?
They may well have influenced me. I mean, we had a lovely old manor house in Oxford, where we had a recording studio, and the bands would come and record there, and you know, I would spend many a night, you know, getting stoned as you do, and you know, when you're a teenager or whatever, and having a good laugh with them. And there was one Keith Richards, a bit of name dropping here, was there one day. He wasn't there with his own wife. He was there with somebody else's wife, and there was a big bang on the door, and I opened the door, and the husband of the lady that he was with was at the door, an enormous big black guy with a gun in his hand, which doesn't actually happen in Britain, but it just happened to be on this night that he was obviously very upset, and he wanted to come in, and I said that no, Keith wasn't here, and his wife definitely wasn't there, and he started sort of pushing me to come in. And at this moment, I saw a naked Keith Richard and his naked wife running across the lawn behind him. And I said, "Come along in, don't worry, you can search the house, I promise you they're not there." So anyway, some of these things are rubbed off on me. By the way, talking about drugs, I've actually, I don't know for why, but I've been been asked by President Cardoso of Brazil if I'd be part of a national drug commission on drugs, and in the last 2 years we've been examining the issue of the war on drugs around the world, and what the Commission have realized is that the war on drugs has completely failed. But we've also looked at every country in the world to see, you know, are there better examples? You know, as a businessman, you know, if something has failed for 60 years, you do go and look at other businesses and other countries to see if somebody's doing it better. Portugal, they have not sent anybody to prison for 10 years for taking any drugs, heroin, cocaine, you know, any drugs. What they've done is they help people. They actually treat drugs as a health problem, not a criminal problem. And they have a, you know, team of you know, psychiatrists and other people, and if somebody's got a problem, they come and sit in front of them, and if they have a heroin problem, they make sure that there's a place they can go to where the state will give them their methadone, their clean needles, so they're not spreading HIV, and the end result has been a massive drop in the use of heroin in Portugal. There's been an enormous drop in breaking and enterings, because nobody needs to break and enter to get the heroin anymore because the state provide it. There's been a drop in the use of marijuana, not much, but a drop rather than an increase. And people are treated like people who, you know, who got an alcohol problem or drinking or smoking too many cigarettes. And you know, so what we're trying to do is just get out there and get as many countries in the world to change their policy and treat drugs as a health problem, not a criminal problem. Yeah.
So is that something that you could do if you could wave a magic wand in the UK or in the United States? Would you legalize drugs?
Well, what the Commission says is they would like different states and different countries to experiment with different approaches. So, you know, I think that legalizing marijuana most likely makes sense. I wouldn't, you know, I would warn of the dangers of marijuana, just like I'd warn of the dangers of cigarettes and the dangers of excess alcohol. But that would solve, you know, that would solve a lot of the problem. And then as far as heroin, hard drugs are concerned, I would not lock people up. I would, you know, do as they do in Portugal and treat it as a health problem and help people. And I think, you know, if my brother or sister had a drug problem, I would not want to see them go to prison. I'd want to see them being helped.
Mm-hmm. Is there any drug that you would not legalize?
I think I choose the word decriminalize quite rather than legalize on all drugs. So I think that, and I would say all drugs should be treated as a health issue and not a criminal issue. So I don't think there's, you know, I don't think locking people up helps people. I mean, the easiest place to get drugs is in prison, so you know, sending people to prison does not help people. And in America, it's actually almost a racist issue, because the majority of people that, you know, 80% of people who end up in prison in America happen to be black.